They told you that helping others makes you good, that kindness is the highest virtue, that to serve others is to serve yourself. But they never told you what happens when goodness becomes your prison. You see, every time you rush to save someone drowning in the storms of their own making, you forget that not everyone wants to be saved. Many crave the drama of their pain more than the peace of resolution. You pull them up and they drag you down, not because they are evil, but because suffering is their currency. The weak trade in pity, not progress, and those who help too often mistake pity for purpose. You call it compassion, they call it convenience. Machiavelli would have told you, to help without wisdom is to offer your strength to those who will soon resent you for possessing it. The world has taught you to rescue everyone, yet never to protect your energy from those who feed on it. Helping, in its naive form, is not virtue. It is self-abandonment, wearing the mask of morality. Most people help because they want to feel needed. It's not love, it's ego disguised as empathy. The act of helping gives the illusion of importance. You become the savior, the fixer, the one who holds light for the lost. But beneath this benevolence lies a quiet hunger for validation. You want to be seen as the good one in a world of indifference. Machiavelli would call this emotional vanity, the subtle desire to gain moral superiority under the banner of altruism. But what happens when the person you helped no longer needs you? You feel empty, almost betrayed, because your identity was built around being the rescuer. And so unconsciously you keep finding broken people, not because you love them, but because their brokenness sustains your sense of worth. The tragedy is that your compassion becomes your addiction. You cannot stop helping, even when it hurts you, because pain is the price you pay for feeling noble. Helping is not always about the other, it is about control. To help is to hold power over another's weakness. And humans, no matter how saintly they appear, are addicted to the feeling of control. You call it guiding, but at its core, it is domination wrapped in sympathy. The helper becomes a quiet ruler, demanding loyalty through acts of generosity. And the one being helped, they become indebted even if silently. Every gift carries a shadow of expectation. Every hand extended comes with a chain, however invisible. Machiavelli knew this, that the one who gives too freely will one day be despised for it. For gratitude is short-lived, but dependence breeds resentment. When you help too much, you remind others of their inadequacy. They begin to hate you, not because you failed them, but because you made them aware of their weakness. Helping, then, becomes a slow betrayal of both giver and receiver. There is a strange cruelty in constant compassion. The kind-hearted often mistake mercy for wisdom, failing to see that every act of saving interrupts nature's silent law. That struggle refines strength. When you remove pain, you remove growth. When you solve every problem, you steal from others the opportunity to learn survival. Machiavelli would whisper, "Never weaken those you wish to empower." But modern morality reversed this truth. It glorified rescue and condemned indifference. Yet indifference, when rooted in wisdom, is not cruelty, it is clarity. To stand still while another learns to walk through fire is not heartlessness. It is faith in their potential. The one who interferes, who cushions every fall, creates dependency, not development. The tree that never bends against the wind grows shallow roots. Likewise, the soul that has always helped remains fragile, a perpetual child, safe but unformed. Compassion without discernment breeds fragility. You must understand this. The world manipulates the kind. It has always done so. Entire systems of control are built on guilt. The guilt of not helping enough, not giving enough, not being good enough. And yet, the architects of these systems give nothing themselves. They simply know that the kind-hearted are easy to enslave. The more you care, the easier you are to control. Guilt becomes a leash, and virtue becomes your cage. Machiavelli did not praise cruelty for cruelty's sake. He simply understood that to survive in a world of wolves, one must not bleed compassion in front of them. He taught realism, not wickedness. For those who see clearly know, if you help everyone, you will eventually lose the strength to help yourself. The weak drain the strong, and the world rewards your exhaustion with applause, not relief. Every act of helping reshapes your identity. The more you give, the more you fear withholding. You become terrified of being seen as selfish, and so you give beyond reason, beyond energy, beyond sense. You give until your giving becomes self-destruction. And in that destruction, others find comfort, because your weakness makes them feel noble. They tell stories of your sacrifice, they praise your endless heart. Yet behind their admiration lies a quiet satisfaction. You have become the martyr they can point to, proof that goodness still exists so they never have to change themselves. You have taken their burden and made it your crown. Machiavelli would shake his head, for the world does not honor martyrs, it uses them. The helper dies quietly and the crowd moves on, searching for another savior to exploit. True strength does not rush to rescue. It observes. It listens to the cries of others and discerns which are genuine and which are manipulative. Because not every plea for help is born of helplessness. Some are performances, emotional theater designed to attract sympathy and control. The victim has learned the art of powerlessness. By appearing weak, they compel others to act. And the helper, blind in virtue, becomes their puppet. Machiavelli's wisdom is ruthless because it unmasks this truth. Power wears many faces, and one of them is vulnerability. To be wise is to recognize that not every tear deserves your hand, not every struggle requires your involvement. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is to walk away, not in anger, but in understanding that some people need their suffering more than they need your help. You've been told that love means sacrifice, but sacrifice without reciprocity is slavery. The word help has been sanctified, stripped of consequence. Yet behind its shine lies a darker reality. Helping someone who refuses to help themselves is not love, it's indulgence. You feed their weakness, nourish their dependency, and call it compassion. But Machiavelli's realism teaches the opposite, that mercy must be measured. The ruler who forgives too much invites rebellion. The friend who gives too much invites entitlement. The lover who stays too long invites resentment. Everything in excess decays, even kindness. To help wisely is to ask, will this strengthen them or soften them? If the answer is the latter, walk away. Let the silence of your absence teach what your presence cannot. There is an addiction to being needed, and society celebrates it. You are told that a life without service is selfish, that fulfillment lies only in giving. But what if that teaching was designed to keep you obedient? The tireless helper rarely questions authority, rarely demands fairness. They're too busy mending everyone else. And so those in power encourage your endless empathy. They glorify your exhaustion as purpose. You think you are saving the world, but in truth the world is feeding on you. Machiavelli understood this dynamic long before modern psychology. Control the compassionate, and you control the conscience of the collective. A man who cannot say no is not good. He is weak, and his weakness sustains the power of others. The greatest illusion is that helping heals you. You think that by giving you cleanse your own wounds. But helping without boundaries is not healing. It's a distraction from your emptiness. You pour into others so you don't have to face your own void. Machiavelli would say, the mind that fears solitude seeks to fill it with duty. And so you become addicted to fixing others because fixing yourself is far more terrifying. Yet no amount of external virtue can compensate for internal neglect until you learn to help yourself first. To confront your fears, your shadows, your ego, your acts of kindness will always be an escape. The truly powerful do not help to feel whole. They help because they are whole. So ask yourself, why do you help? Is it love or fear of being unloved? Is it kindness or the secret desire to control? Is it empathy or ego dressed in purity? The truth is, helping is not inherently noble. It is a tool, powerful when used with wisdom, destructive when used without. Machiavelli would remind you, virtue, ungoverned by reason, becomes vice. To help wisely, you must see clearly, without guilt, without illusion, without the narcotic of moral superiority. The world does not need more helpers. It needs more humans who understand power, the power to say yes, and the greater power to say no. Only then can you truly give without being consumed. To stop helping does not mean to stop caring. It means to stop confusing care with sacrifice. The truly wise understand that love without boundaries destroys both giver and receiver. Detachment, in this sense, is not coldness. It is clarity. It is the art of watching the world without drowning in its suffering. Machiavelli would have called it prudence, the ability to feel deeply yet act rationally. The masses mistake detachment for indifference because they cannot imagine love without possession or empathy without interference. But detachment is the highest form of love. It allows others the dignity to rise by their own strength. When you stop rescuing, you give others the sacred space to awaken. You stop enabling their fears and start honoring their potential. To detach is to trust that the fire which forges you will forge them too. It is to love without losing yourself. Machiavelli once wrote that men are more inclined to repay injury than kindness. This truth remains eternal. When you help someone excessively, you remind them of their dependency. Gratitude fades quickly, but pride remembers humiliation forever. The one you helped will one day resent you, not for failing them, but for succeeding where they could not. The human ego cannot stand to be reminded of its own inadequacy. And so the hand that once fed becomes the hand they secretly wish to bite. To the unwise, this seems cruel. To the wise, it is simply human nature. Detachment, then, is not just emotional, it is strategic. You must know when to help and when to withhold, not out of cruelty, but out of respect for the fragile nature of pride. The ruler who understands this rules hearts without touching them. The individual who practices it earns peace without pleading for it. There is strength in being misunderstood. The detached are often labeled selfish by those who benefit from their attachment. When you stop giving endlessly, people call you arrogant. When you set boundaries, they say you've changed. But in truth, you are simply awakening. You are withdrawing from the emotional economy that runs on guilt and validation. Machiavelli would have admired this kind of withdrawal, not as rebellion, but as wisdom. The one who governs themselves governs all. Detachment means you are no longer desperate to be liked. You no longer seek applause for your goodness. You understand that morality is often a social contract designed to keep you obedient. You begin to value peace over praise, solitude over social approval. And in that silence, you discover a different kind of power, the power of self-sufficiency. The less you need from others, the more dangerous your presence becomes. Detachment is the art of selective engagement. The wise do not withdraw completely, they simply choose when and where to invest their energy. Machiavelli would say, "A prince must learn to act cruelly only when mercy endangers the state." Likewise, you must learn to say no when kindness endangers your soul. Detachment allows you to help without losing yourself, to love without ownership, to give without depletion. You no longer act from compulsion but from choice. You become deliberate, measured, precise, calm, and it is this calmness that intimidates the world. For the world feeds on emotional reactivity. It thrives on guilt and chaos. When you refuse to be pulled by either, you transcend the emotional gravity that keeps others bound. To detach is to become sovereign over your inner world, and from that sovereignty all true power arises. The greatest form of helping is example, not rescue. When you embody strength, clarity, and calm detachment, you teach without teaching. Others will observe your composure and begin to wonder how you became so unshaken. You no longer convince, you demonstrate. Machiavelli taught that people imitate more than they obey. They follow those who embody power, so let your detachment become your silent instruction. Those who are ready to evolve will rise by your presence, not your pity. You are not responsible for everyone's awakening. You are responsible for your own alignment. Helping is not lifting others with your hands, but by the gravity of your being. When you stand firm, others find the courage to stand too. When you withdraw from enabling, you allow nature to do its work, refining those who must learn through consequence. You cannot awaken those who profit from their sleep. Some people do not want help, they want attention. They feed on crisis because it grants them meaning. To such souls, your compassion is fuel for their endless theater of despair. Machiavelli would have smiled grimly at this. Machiavellians cling to suffering because it offers identity. Therefore, your withdrawal becomes an act of mercy. You refuse to participate in their performance. You let silence become the mirror in which they see themselves clearly. Detachment does not punish, it reveals. When you stop engaging, truth surfaces, and the truth is simple. Not everyone wants healing, not everyone deserves your energy, and not everyone who cries for help is ready to rise. To detach is to accept this without bitterness, to walk away without hatred, and to let reality become their teacher. The most dangerous lie is that goodness and strength cannot coexist. But Machiavelli knew they must. Goodness without strength is manipulation waiting to happen. Strength without goodness is tyranny. The union of both creates wisdom. When you stop helping blindly, you begin to cultivate this union within yourself. You learn to act with compassion, but never at the expense of discernment. You see that the world does not reward your virtue. It exploits it. And so you redefine what virtue means. It becomes not self-sacrifice, but self-mastery, not pity, but precision. You stop trying to save everyone and start building the discipline to protect your energy. This is not selfishness. It is self-respect, the quiet realization that your peace is more valuable than their approval. There will come a moment when you look back at all the times you tried to help and realize you were really asking to be seen. Every selfless act carried a whisper. Will you finally love me if I save you? And when you see that truth, you will not hate yourself. You will understand. You will forgive the version of you that mistook service for significance. Machiavelli would remind you, men are driven by two things, fear and desire. You desired love and you feared rejection. Helping was simply the mask you wore to feel safe, but once you see the pattern, you are no longer its prisoner. Detachment is not denial, it is awareness purified. You begin to act not from emptiness, but from wholeness. You stop needing to prove your goodness because you have finally made peace with your humanity. When you detach, the world becomes quiet. The noise of obligation fades. The constant rush to fix, to please, to prove disappears. You begin to hear something subtler, something ancient, your own will. You realize how much of your life was governed by guilt, by the desire to be perceived as kind. And now, stripped of that illusion, you meet yourself. Raw, unmasked, sovereign. This is where true helping begins, not in saving others, but in understanding yourself. Machiavelli's realism was never meant to destroy virtue, only to free it from delusion. When you see human nature as it is, not as you wish it to be, compassion becomes intelligent, love becomes balanced, and helping becomes intentional. You no longer bleed for the ungrateful nor harden against the world. You walk in the middle, calm, discerning, untouchable. The world will never understand this kind of peace. It will call you detached, distant, perhaps even heartless. But beneath their accusations lies envy. They envy your serenity, your refusal to be controlled by emotion. They envy your ability to care without collapsing. Machiavelli would say, "The man who governs himself cannot be governed by others." You will find that once you stop helping out of weakness, you begin to help out of power. Your yes becomes meaningful. Your no becomes sacred. You no longer act to earn worth, you act because you already possess it. People will sense it, and those who once drained you will begin to disappear. Detachment filters your world. What remains are those who respect strength, not exploit softness. So stop helping blindly. Stop trying to be the savior of those who have chosen their suffering. Help when wisdom commands it, not when guilt demands it. Love fiercely, but with boundaries. Give generously, but with awareness. Let your compassion be intelligent, not impulsive. Machiavelli's wisdom still whispers through the centuries. It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. Yet the modern philosopher adds, it is best to be neither feared nor loved, but respected. And respect begins when you respect your own energy. Helping when done from weakness is a curse. But when done from strength, it becomes creation. The choice is yours. You can live as the endlessly drained savior, or as the quietly powerful soul who understands. To stop helping everyone is not cruelty. It is the beginning of freedom.